I can't hear you.
That's because I was muted.
I'm 100 years old. I broke my.
Hello, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Oh, not too bad. Just living that quarantine life.
Right.
Uh, sorry. I usually like to start off the show by kind of asking your libertarian testimony, how you figured out the other two parties were BS, how you found the LP, and kind of what kept you around from there.
I think I have like the weirdest story ever, and it's not because of my marriage. So my mom was a Republican, but I don't think she really was a Republican. So I always wanted to be a Democrat because my mom was a Republican. And when I was 12, I got a jean jacket. I feel like I've told this story. I might have told it to you actually, but not everybody's heard it. I got a jean jacket, and it was like the late 80s, early 90s, and people used to put those like the buttons on their jean jackets, and so I had the New Kids on the Block buttons and that stupid crap. And she gave me this one that said, "Keep your laws off my body." And I was 12, and I was like, didn't realize it was about abortion and stuff, But it could have been about anything, but that's what it was from. I think it was from the League of Women Voters. So I had that as a 12-year-old, 5th, 6th grade, on my jean jacket. Keep your laws off my body. And I really didn't know what it meant. And then like years later, I was like, oh my God, Mama's a libertarian. But so I voted for, my first legal election to vote was George W. Bush first time. And I did vote for him. So that's not being a Democrat, right? And then I couldn't vote for John Kerry. I don't know which he was running against him or not. So there was a lot of times where I was just like, hey, I'm going to vote for the person that is less creepy, and like basically the lesser of two evils. I had no idea of any policies, nothing at all. And then, now I've got my Facebook memories from 2008 popping up like, yay, Obama won. And I'm like, oh, what was I thinking? That wasn't even that long ago, Now we're like friggin' socialized medicine. But that year I had changed my voter registration to Republican at some point to vote for Ron Paul in the primary.
Nice.
Yeah, so then I voted for Obama like a fucking idiot. But I changed my voter registration for good in 2009 to Libertarian, even though Nick and I had been married for 4 months at that point, and we have been dating since 2005. But he was always like, no, I think you're actually a libertarian. You just need to but I think it's hard when you're a woman that like, you don't want to be like, oh, I'm going to do whatever my boyfriend says. Right. But
right.
So like, oh, he's like, well, let's come to this picnic. And it's like a bunch of guys sitting around, like arguing over vaccines and like, can we just go home, Nick?
Right.
Now it's like all this stuff is affecting me, and I'm so into it. I can never look away, and it's good and bad at the same time. You know what I mean? Where you're like, I wish that I didn't know any of this stuff, but at the same time, I'm so glad I know all this stuff.
Yeah, definitely. It ruins a little chunk of your happiness and naivety when you join the LP and you realize the government is always out to get you and everyone's corrupt.
Yeah, like, oh, I wish I had just gone I don't remember what year it was when George Bush gave everybody like $200 or something. I don't know. You were a child.
Yeah.
But I was so excited. I bought a Wii. I was like, oh my God, I'm going to use my, we still have it, but like those were our stimulus bucks. And I was like, this is free money. And Nick's like, oh my God, Jesus, I love you, but this is not free money.
That's hilarious. So you've recently started homeschooling your kids. How's that going out?
Whew. So you saw us in November, and that was what, like 3 months in, right?
Yeah.
You saw us again at Christmas time, but we were drinking eggnog, so everything was great then. It's not my favorite, but I know that I'm not doing them a disservice right now. If I was like, oh, I hate homeschooling, it just sucks and it's awful, then yeah, that would be awful. But I talked to a friend here one day and I was like, they're only doing 2 hours of work and like, they're going to be so dumb because I don't know what I'm doing. And she's like, they work for 2 hours. And I said, well, yeah. Like, but at regular school, they go to school for 8 hours. And she's like, they're at school for 8 hours. They're not doing work for 8 hours.
Right.
So you have to think about this. You're doing a great job. And so I thought, well, we'll see. But then kind of near the end of this year, well, especially when COVID started and everything was closed, it really, I mean, you're homeschooled, a lot of it is experience and field trips and being outdoors and going to places and doing the things.
Yeah.
And we had to stop all of that. Like, I think March 15th, 16th, around St. Patrick's Day, that's when they shut everything down. And it was like, we were going to the library and we're very close to all the museums down here. And I had this, we had just finished up the American Revolution. We went from the first European settlers through the American Revolution. And I was like, this big deal at the end here, we're going to go down to Boston and we're going to do the Freedom Trail. And like this,
nice.
We found this cool tour and it was like a pizza tour and the Freedom Trail. So
all right.
Yeah, I was like something for everybody. So you get to go like see Paul Revere's house or whatever, the North Church where you put the lights up. And then there's like 3 pizza restaurants that you stop and you have a piece of pizza. So
all right.
We're very excited.
Definitely going to have to check that out.
No, and it was like $45 is like for a walking history tour and 3 pieces of pizza. That seems like a deal.
Yeah.
So that got canceled. So starting around that time, we kind of were at each other's throats a little bit where nobody wanted to do anything and it was hard. And so we kind of rolled back a little bit, but they don't know that school's actually out. And so we're still schooling right now. So we're just doing a little bit less than we were before, but I wanted to make sure that we covered the things that they were supposed to cover because they're potentially going to a charter school in the fall if everything opens up.
Gotcha.
And I just was like, if I show up and I'm like, here's my kids and I ruin them, good luck. I will feel bad, but
I don't see that happening. I think, like you said, being homeschooled, I've seen what public school does, and I've seen what you're able to do with a 1-on 2 or 3 kind of an education. And yeah, that 2 hours a day is a lot more one-on-one time than any kid gets in public school. So
yes. And our technically preschooler, she's starting kindergarten in the fall, learned to read this year. And
wow.
Yeah, through very little, because I didn't want to push her, I didn't want to make her hate reading because I don't like reading. And so I don't want her to grow up to be an adult who doesn't like to read because then everybody's like, oh, what book have you read recently? And I'm like, people mad. My
Facebook newsfeed, does that count?
Yeah, right. You watch The Simpsons, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, like, I always say my favorite book is magazines. Sheriff Lisa Simpson. I like McNuggets. So she, because the other kids, part of their schooling would be like read a book to her. She probably had 3 books a day read to her, and then she just started writing and reading, and I was like, oh, look at this, here we go. I'm a genius.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So how is getting acclimated to New Hampshire? Are you missing Arizona?
I swear to God, it's hotter here than it is in Arizona. I swear to God.
This summer has been ridiculous. Even down here in New York, it's brutal. Yeah.
It's so hot. I'm like, how is it still this hot? And there's like no break. And then it hasn't rained. Everyone's like, oh, it rains all the time. I'm like, it hasn't. It's rained like 5 minutes twice. It's so hot. It's so hot. We don't have central air conditioning. And so all we do is like, we're trapped in the house. So we just sit there and yell at each other. It's great.
Sounds about right. Yeah, I live in a like an 100-year-old farmhouse in the middle of nowhere. So there is yeah, we have one AC in a window downstairs in the living room. My bedroom is usually about 85 degrees or so most of the day. um, but yeah, it's this summer has been crazy. But other than the weather, how do you like New Hampshire?
Oh, love it. I love it. I do. We're closing on our house in like 3 weeks. So I think that we were in this little apartment for a lot longer than we had anticipated. Like our original lease says 3 months because that's what we thought it would only take to sell our house, 3 months. But then it was February and then it was COVID and then no one was moving or, there was more people trying to move than there was people selling houses. So,
Right.
took us a long time to find a house that didn't go under contract within 4 hours of being listed. Yeah, so I think it'll be a lot better because we don't even have all of our stuff out of storage. So we've basically been living like not a pretend life, but like with half of our stuff and kind of like it felt very temporary. So I think that once we're in our own place and I don't have any children living in my bedroom, then it will feel much more like we're at home.
Yeah,
but we have a lot of friends there though, so
that's
helps.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely can relate to the living out of a suitcase and or boxes lifestyle. Done that most of my adult life now. I never stay anywhere long enough to get fully unpacked. I move like once every 6 months, it seems like.
Keep moving.
Yeah. It keeps me from being too big of a pack rat though, because I do have a habit of like keeping everything. And then I just have to throw away 60% of what I own every like 6 months because like I don't actually need all these papers from this random fair. I'm never gonna call these people. Like
does that. I'm like, what is this? What do you have this paper from? And he's like, well, I might need that, or I don't know whose number that is. I might find out I need it. I'm like, you don't need this. I get like if I get a new shirt, I take one out of the closet and put it to Goodwill. Like I don't keep things. I feel bad. I used to like throw the kids' art away from school, and then they would be like, "How come my painting is in the trash?" I'm like, "Oh, I don't know." Dad did it.
I actually just had that conversation with my parents because I have a nephew and two nieces. And my nephew is just getting to the point. He just started pre-K this year. So my sister would have like 7 or 8 pages worth of just like random art.
Yeah, they cut
every day.
The paper. And it's like, oh, for you know how to use a glue stick.
Yeah. So for a time, she was like keeping all of it. Because I mean, it's her oldest. So, and her husband was just like secretly like stealing it and like throwing it away in like a bag that she didn't know where it was.
The first one, you're like, oh yeah, this is cute. But then like after a while, I just like anything that said I love mommy on it, that's what I would say.
There you go.
That's it.
I hope she's not watching right now and I just gave out my brother-in-law's secret away, but
watermark it.
So this year you are running for LNC at large. What makes you want to do that?
What? Why would I not want to do that? I actually just recorded a video for the Tennessee Young Libertarians.
Nice.
And I was like, yes, I know, this is crazy. I am totally crazy. But I have ideas that I want to do. And I joined the LNC committee, the membership support committee, thinking that I was going to be able to do these ideas the last time. And it really wasn't that direction that we went. So I have some great ideas. I've already spoken to some people who are also running for various things, regional rep and at large. Like if I don't get elected, I still want to do this. And like, if I even have to give you the ideas, just tell them that it was my idea. But it's nothing that we can do like before the election anyway, because you need to focus on Joe.
Right.
But anyway, the big point is like, we got a bunch of kids, and every time we go to any convention, there's like maybe 3 or 4 other kids, maybe. And so like, why is that? Because the moms feel like they have to stay at home because the kids aren't welcome, or the moms are not wanting to be involved, or it's a single dad and he's like, well, I don't want to bring my kids. It's a Monday night at 9:30. And like, who's going to, I can't afford a babysitter, or I don't want to pay for a babysitter. So why are people, parents, not just moms, dads, whatever, guardians, why are they not coming? And then why are they not bringing the kids? I understand like a Monday night at 9:00, like our county level executive meetings are, well, we haven't had one in a while because of Corona. But they were Monday nights at like 6 or 7, which is, I could bring one of the children, but then they go to bed at 7:30, or they wind down at 7:30. So it's not like feasible. But why are we not doing more things like picnics or Saturday meetings? Because we did have Saturday meetups here, but they weren't meetings. They were just like libertarian meetups. And
Nice.
But then nobody else was coming. So it was like, well, I'm just going out to dinner with my family and like 2 other people are there. And maybe they don't want to be around a bunch of kids. So what the thing is, you generally will go to a club or a group where there's people that are similar to you. So there's not a lot of kids. There's not a lot of like middle-aged moms hanging around.
It's not a lot of women, period.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of women represented actually in the LNC, which is great. But I think that also gives the falsity or smoke and mirrors that there's more women that are coming to everything.
Yeah.
So
in New York City, we're lucky if we have 2 at each meeting.
Yeah. And like, but why? Because they don't want to be there because it's like a bunch of dudes talking about the earth being flat or something weird, Yeah. But like Minnesota has huge, it's like half and half. And so what are they doing that is making it more friendly to women, families, children, whatever. So that's why I am actually running. So I don't know if I'm one person. Can I change it? I don't know. But I'm also like pretty easygoing, and I'm going to work with anybody. I'm not going to vote like some people who are on the LNC currently. I'm not going to vote because I'm mad at somebody or because that's spite, or because I'll vote for anything. Like I'm 41 years old. I got 4 kids. I don't have time for anybody's shit, So we're not going to get in there and be like, oh, you said one thing one time and now I'm mad at you and I'm going to vote against you. Like, let's be adults. And,
Thank you.
It's not, it's ridiculous. Like I've had enough changing of diapers that I don't need to deal with that anymore. So I don't know.
So the at-large delegate is a national election, right?
Yes.
Okay. So are you kind of like the backup, like say if for some reason I don't want to talk to Tucker as my regional rep, I talk to you or another at-large person to get something through to the LNC, or what's exactly your capacity as at-large?
Yeah, at-large is like representative of everybody. So even though I am in New England, and I would hope that like, and that's probably another, nuance of me running, because Tucker is in New York, and you've been to New England, New York, and happen. I'm back.
Oh, there you are.
I have a week. Right.
Gotta love computers, right, folks?
Are we back?
Yeah, we're good.
I don't know if it was me. It said week, but it's still there. So it's unique. What I was saying, it's unique for me in New Hampshire to be running for at-large because, Tucker's great and Tucker's in New York. Mm-hmm. But New York and New Jersey are vastly different than New England. So I'm not saying that I'm just going to be representing the people that live up here. But what I'm saying is like there might be some people who live in New Hampshire or Connecticut or Vermont. Well, maybe not Vermont people. I don't think that they're too keen on me, but that's okay. Good hearts. But maybe they're like, I feel like Tucker's not going to respond to me. Now, I'm not saying like Tucker wouldn't respond to anybody. So, maybe I shouldn't even have said that. That's not what I meant. But like maybe they would be more comfortable talking to me instead, fine. Or if somebody's like, hey, I sent this to my regional rep, that's not Tucker, and they didn't do anything, can you help? Well, yeah, of course. But usually, like if I had something that was big, I would just send it right to Justin and then be like, you going to do something? And then if he didn't do anything, then I would talk to another friend and be like, hey, can you ask your regional rep to do this?
There we go. We have a comment from Ethan Bishop Henchman saying that he is keen on you. So you have some support over there.
Yeah, he's in DC now, though.
But yeah, I think I definitely see what you mean by there being a little bit of a big difference actually between kind of the New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania group and the New England group. So having a person from each group definitely would present a lot of advantages, I think, for the Northeast.
Yeah. I mean, nothing's going to be bad, like
right.
Just to have a voice.
Yeah. Tucker is working on like 18 different campaigns 80% of the time. So, who knows when he has time.
He's awesome, though. He's so busy.
He is.
So attentive.
There is not a single thing that I am doing for the LP that he is not also involved with. Like, not one thing. He is working on every campaign that I am on right now, which is 3. That's and awesome. He's doing more than that. I know. He's an insane person.
See, that's why we need the youth too. We need the old ladies and the youth.
There we go. Should be a new caucus, the old ladies and the youth caucus.
I mean, I think that's called like cougars, but
I probably by definition.
Things just got weird.
So I have to ask, what has it been like being married to the Libertarian Party?
It's been fun. It's just like, I don't know, everyone's like, oh, thank you so much. And I'm like, I don't care. It's not so bad. Like, it's not as bad. Well, maybe it's just me because I'm used to it, Mm-hmm. When Nick and I started dating, he was the state chair for Maryland, I think. And then Yeah. While he was in law school. So yeah, that's another thing. Nick was in law school while on our first date. And he was working full time. So he already was working a full-time job and then going to law school at night, 4 nights a week. So I rarely saw him as it was. And which made it even funnier when I was like, hey, I need to move in with you because my roommate is remodeling the bathroom and we only had one bathroom. And he was like, well, and we had been dating for like 2.5 years. And then I never left.
Nice.
After the bathroom was remodeled, I was like, all my stuff's already here. So
that's one way to do it.
Yeah, right. I tricked him. But then when after he graduated law school, he was an attorney, so he was always working like long hours. So I think I'm used to it. Being alone a lot, which is not. I mean, this sounds really sad and depressing, but it's not. It's good for us because that's our strengths and weaknesses. Like I'm good at doing the things. So now maybe I shouldn't run for at large because maybe I won't be good at going out and doing the things because I'm better at being home and taking care of the house and doing the things like that. But
well, you guys get to trade for a little while, which should be fun.
Oh my God. Well, I told James Weeks I was doing like pros and cons. It took me 3 months to decide. And I didn't even talk about it with Nick because I was like, I don't want to have him give any influence on my decision at all. And actually, I don't even think I told him I was thinking about it. I just was like, I'm going to run for at large. And he was like, oh, okay. So I made like pros and cons list. And like the biggest pro that kind of put me over the edge was I get to sleep in a hotel 4 times a year by myself. And I was like, I'm okay. Like, that's it. I mean, it's going to cost thousands of dollars for me to spend 2 nights away from my family, but I've been home with them for 6 years, so it's probably my turn. But It's been fun. We met so many. I don't want to say we've met because we're still meeting people, but so many cool people and like been to so many different awesome things and like just such great experiences, which is also why I want to keep the kids involved, because there's so many great opportunities and great experiences that they got to see and do. And on my little video for the Tennessee Young Libertarians, I was like, oh yeah, I have like a picture somewhere of Gary Johnson holding one of my kids, you know. So it's like those kinds of things we can. It's just like something that will. They're not going to ever remember, but it's like something that was so cool that happened. And
Yeah.
so being married to the party, like, of course, there's people that are just like trash and that are so rude.
Yeah.
But what, like, I'm sorry, your life is so miserable that you think that you need to be mean, you know, like, let's just keep going.
Right.
We all literally want the same thing. So
Yeah, it wouldn't really be the Libertarian Party if there weren't a couple of trash people. It just wouldn't feel right.
Society in general, right? Like,
Yeah.
there's always people that just are just contrarian to be contrarian, and that's fine.
Yeah.
Like, you know, there's something that maybe they didn't get enough hugs as children or whatever. Who knows? Like,
Yep.
it's not my job to figure it out, but I'm gonna just be like, okay, whatever, I got to keep going.
Yeah. I mean, shit, I started an argument about tearing down an Abraham Lincoln statue today on Facebook just for the shits and giggles of it. So I got really bored and somebody posted something silly, and it's just fun. I'm starting to enjoy Twitter a lot more now for that reason too. It's just like picking fights and then just watching the comments trickle in and kind of ignoring it because you just like you're bored for 20 minutes, so you pick like 8 fights and then go do something and spend your day like busy accomplishing something and go to bed and scroll through and just like people are just shitting on you. It's amusing.
That's horrible. Like, you know, like, okay, so if anybody saw my Twitter, I retweet like Justin Amash all the time. I Nick usually. There's a lot of Twitter retweeting or libertarian retweeting, but most of the comments I'm making are like to the Real Housewives. So if anybody saw my Twitter, they'd be like, what is she doing? But then, you know, you go on those poor ladies. And like some of the people are like, you're the worst person on the show and you're fat and I hate you. And it's like, oh my God, what happened to you that you think you can talk to a stranger like that? Not me, like,
Right.
you know, like Emily on Real Housewives of Orange County. You probably don't watch, but she's a little bit thicker than the rest of the ladies, but they always are talking about her weight. And I'm like, leave her alone. She's a freaking lawyer. What are you doing, Tammy?
Yeah, I haven't watched any Real Housewives in a while.
Come back on July.
I watched exactly one episode of Real Housewives of New York once because I was working for a finance firm and we actually had one of the housewives as a client, and so like the person that got the phone call like was like hyped, and we all literally like watched it in the break room over lunch together because we were like, okay, we have to see what she looks like what she's like, because he had to sell her, so he was like, I might as well watch her show if I'm gonna try to sell her on investing with us. So that is all I have seen of any Real Housewives.
I mean, it's probably better for you, but you know, it's like just why are people mean to anybody, you know?
Right.
Just
it's not necessary.
Friggin' mind your business.
Mm-hmm.
Who cares if somebody doesn't look as good in a bathing suit by your standards as you think they should? Like, whatever. Who cares if you think somebody's not libertarian enough? Okay, like at least they're here. At least they're coming to the things. They're going to meetings and to the meetings. Like we have some kind of problem, but they're being involved. They're being activists. What do you care if they're not libertarian enough? So. It's similar. Just, I don't know. Maybe it's my old age. Just like, I don't have time for this. I don't have time for you to argue with each other, please, about anything.
Yeah. I feel like the only thing that I actively criticize people for is not showing up to vote.
Oh, yes.
And it's usually the people that are saying, oh, you're not libertarian enough that aren't showing up to vote.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's because they don't believe in voting.
Right, which doesn't make any sense at all to me. When I ran for city council last year, and I had people on Twitter and Instagram and all over the place like saying like, "Oh, you're part of the problem. You're terrible. Like you're like only contributing to the oligarchy that's trying to rule over," and just like all of this bullshit. And I'm like, okay, it's either me or this terrible human of a councilwoman who is like just identity politics, zero substance, tax and spend, backed by all the police unions. Like, your pick. Like, which one would you rather have in city council? Like,
Yeah, right. And not voting is making a choice, but you're not. The choice is being made for you by not voting. You're letting somebody else make the choice.
Yeah. I mean, if you want to write in yourself, at least do something.
Oh my gosh,
like,
I did when we moved here, because we got to vote in like the primary, and it was I feel like it was like, and we got here August 10th or something last year, and I feel like the primary was like sometime in August, and I was like, I don't know who any of these people are. I'm gonna vote for Nick for everything.
That's great. I actually, me and my friend Devin, who also ran in 2019, we had some fun looking down through the election data, like down to the individual vote.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the people that got votes in my race were hilarious. I got Donald Trump got like 4 votes. Rocky got a vote. I'm pretty sure some Pokemon got a vote. I don't remember which one it was. It was hilarious. There was like 85 write-ins, and only like 20 of them were serious, like legitimate people. A couple of them were misspellings of people that were actually running, which didn't make any sense to me. But yeah, at least do something. Like, if you're gonna vote for Scooby-Doo, like, show up.
Yes, at least you're showing up. I mean, or the people who are on, I mean, I don't argue with people on Twitter, but the people who are on Twitter who are like, this is why you suck, your party sucks. And it's like, oh, are you a member of the party? And they're like, no, I'll never be a member of the party. I'm like, okay, then who cares?
Yeah.
Like, just go.
Then you are not my target market, sir.
I don't want to talk to you.
Yeah, I feel like the problem that a lot of libertarians have online, especially, is we target the wrong kinds of people.
Mm-hmm.
So we spend way too much time arguing with those people, and not enough time like talking to the Democratic Socialists about criminal justice reform.
Yeah, like, what's the guy? Nick was talking to the guy in San Francisco, Chasa Boudin. Am I saying his name right? He's like the district attorney.
Okay.
But he's got like, I think he's backed by the Democratic Socialists, but he's got a huge criminal justice reform that's all libertarian, like where he's not making people who do property crimes pay restitution.
Nice.
And not putting them in jail. And then they're like, you're a socialist. This is why you're not. And he was like, wouldn't it be more productive to have them working and like being back into society instead of being in jail where we're paying for them? And instead of us paying the restitution or letting the restitution come out of the money, it's saving money by paying it out of taxes instead of putting them in the jail because it costs less, whatever.
Yeah.
I'm not like 100% on that, but yeah. So there's like definitely pieces of people. I mean, I feel like the Republicans, we've almost completely lost, like, at this point.
Yeah.
They're just like, I mean, they're in there right now trying to figure out another, what do you call it? To save us all. The money that they give you.
The stimulus.
The stimulus. Yeah. I'm like, what is that word? They're trying to figure out another stimulus bill because like everybody's still unemployed. Like, okay, but and those are the Republicans. Like, okay, what are you doing?
As one of those unemployed people, I'm kind of okay with that. Not gonna lie. I did just get a job, but it doesn't start until July 4th. So hopefully they send those out before that happens.
Yeah. What's your job?
So I actually just accepted a position as an election coordinator for YAL. So I will be in Michigan for a few months, knocking doors for some Liberty candidates for their state rep.
Nice. Very good.
Yeah, I am very excited. It has been 4 months since Tulsi, and I've missed campaigning so much. It's the greatest thing I've ever done with my life. I love it, and I can't wait to be back doing it because sitting still has sucked.
And I'm sure that whoever the candidate in Michigan will allow you to have alcohol
Let's hope so. Actually,
on your downtime.
yeah, it said we could have alcohol but no illicit drugs.
Okay, well,
So unfortunately, this is gonna have to stop, but
is
that's
it?
okay.
They don't have recreational in Michigan.
Ooh, I don't know. I actually didn't think about that. I have
They
no
don't in New
idea.
Hampshire, but
No, it's like the one thing New Hampshire sucks on.
that's really strange. Like you can ride around without a seatbelt on, but you can't. You have to
Mhm.
drive to Massachusetts, buckle your seatbelt to get your
Yeah.
drug.
I never realized how much I hated mandatory seatbelt laws until I lived in New Hampshire for 4 months. Like it is just like the epitome of freedom of just like not having to worry about getting pulled over because you drove around the corner to the gas station to get some soda and didn't put your seatbelt on.
Everyone's always like, "Why would you not wear a seatbelt?" Right? Why would you not? Like, okay,
Yeah.
if you don't want to wear a seatbelt, or if you want to wear a seatbelt, wear it, but it shouldn't be a law. I mean, oh my gosh, I'm like having like serious problems with biting my tongue with some of my friends in Arizona. You know, 'cause that's where we moved from, and they just passed a mandatory face mask law, and I'm like,
Ooh.
I want everyone to wear a face mask. I want them,
Yep.
because I want to go. I want my kids to go to school in the fall. Like, I want everything to be as normal as it can be. So let's do this. But you should never make anything mandatory. They're having a really hard time with that thought process. Like, well, we want people to do it, so we need to make it mandatory. I'm like, no, because once you make something mandatory, you're basically giving the government the right to kill you if you don't follow that law. So would you like somebody to be shot because they don't have a mask on? Especially like somebody who has like COPD? Is that something that it's hard to breathe, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, if you have like a disability, you're gonna have to carry your papers around and be like, I can't wear a mask, but then Karen's walking around the grocery store screaming in your face because you don't have your mask on, even if you're disabled. So no, man, nothing should be mandatory like that. It's silly.
Yeah, 100% agree. Yeah, every law has somebody at the end of it with a gun ready to shoot you if you don't want to follow it. So you have to really think about that when you decide that you want something that bad.
Yeah.
Do you really want it bad enough to kill people? Because I don't know if this is a true statistic, but I find it hard to believe that there's a single law in America that somebody hasn't died over.
I'm sure that you are right, because like it always leads to something. Like somebody gets pulled over for this broken taillight or something, and they don't have their seatbelt on, and then they reach for their driver's license or whatever, and then they get shot. Like that was all because of the seatbelt or the broken taillight or something,
Yeah.
And then so they were all at some rally, some church for Trump yesterday, I don't know, in Phoenix, and they all over Twitter, hey, Kate Gallego, nobody's wearing their mask here. And I just want to be like, you should go send the cops and shoot them all. Like, what do you want to do? What do you want them to do? Do you want them to go in there and like, it's like when my kids tattle. Oh, he said I was stupid. I'm like, what do you want me to do? Spank him? Like, what do you want me to do with that information? Like, he knows he's not supposed to say that, and we're going to talk to him, but like, just tell me what you want me to do right now. Yeah, spank him. I'm like, you really want that? Because then if that happens to you, then you want to get spanked? No, only spank him. Like, okay, well, that's not how it works. Like,
right.
That's dumbed down law for our house. Like, nobody's getting spanked. I'm not shooting anybody, and I'm not spanking anybody. Okay.
There we go. That is
Mother
like
of the year.
perfect. That is the perfect criminal justice platform as explained by a wonderful mother.
Mother of the year. I'm not going to shoot you or spank you. Just don't call each other stupid.
Right. Yeah, and you mentioned earlier the DSA-backed DA in California. I worked for a similar candidate in New York last year, and I got shut down by basically every libertarian I knew. I wrote an article called "Why the LP Should Back a Socialist for DA," and everybody was just like, no, that's not happening. I tried to talk to the Queen's LP, and they were just like, nope, we're gonna talk to all these other people, like straight, like terrible authoritarian Republicans.
They didn't
One
have
and a couple of Democrats, but the one person that I actually heard speak, she wasn't able to make it. She was unfortunately in a car accident that day. She completely fine. She just spent a couple hours in the hospital, went home that night. Everything was cool, but she sent somebody from her campaign to talk to us. So she didn't miss the meeting. So appreciated that as well, that she thought about us. But he starts off his spiel with, because she's Jewish and most of the Queen's LP is also Jewish. So about half, I'd say. And so it starts off with that he's going to make like hate crimes, like heavily prosecute hate crimes and especially anti-Semitic hate crimes, and that they don't get enough attention and blah, 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 blah. That's his first point. Then I ask about legalizing marijuana, and he says that he doesn't know her position on that. And I'm like, do you know what room you're in?
Yeah.
And then like a couple of other people ask like some kind of basic-y questions that he's able to softball. And then I asked him about legalizing prostitution. And he just like shut down a little bit. He was like, because he's also like, he looked very like good Jewish person, like probably not a big fan of the prostitution in Queens. So yeah, he kind of shut down for a second. He said that he wasn't sure her official policy on that, but he didn't think that was in her goals. And I just kind of like, that was kind of the end of it.
Nice talking to you all.
Yeah, basically. Meanwhile, this woman that I was working with, Tiffany Caban, she like straight up said that day one as DA, there will never be another prosecution for any recreational drug charge, consensual prostitution charge, and just had a whole, I mean, her platform was beautiful from a libertarian standpoint. The only thing that that went against the LP platform was rent control ish things. But she doesn't have any power to really create rent control, but her thing was more like heavily prosecuting shitty landlords was more her angle, which did include like enforcing rent control better. And she had that lefty talking point in there, but like I'm kind of okay with giving up that for like legalized prostitution, legal weed. And honestly, there's a lot of shitty landlords in Queens that should be more heavily prosecuted. So most of that plank I even agreed with, but everybody in the NYC LP just shut it down. They were like, no, she's a socialist.
But were they running anybody?
No,
well,
we did not run anyone.
It's hard, but it's hard when people have the labels, and like we're so guilty of it too, you know. They're like vote blue no matter who or whatever. But it's like if you agree with somebody and you don't have a libertarian running, why would you not just make the best choice based on their stances and platforms?
Right. Like I had that argument in New Hampshire the entire month of February and January, because I was like, okay, you guys are libertarians. There's technically no such thing in New Hampshire. You can vote in the Democratic primary, vote for Tulsi Gabbard. And everybody was like, nah, I'm not going to do that.
No, most of them voted for Trump.
Yeah.
Or didn't vote.
I think, do you know if your husband voted for Bill?
I voted for Bill.
You did?
Yes.
Okay.
Because he wasn't going to win. I mean,
right.
He's got a lifetime membership to the Libertarian Party. If Tulsi had one, I would be torn, but she didn't get one. I mean, she was approached at some point, I believe.
Yeah.
So, yeah. No, I voted for Bill. I'm like, he's not going to, I think he got like 4%. He
beat Tulsi.
Really?
Yeah. Both in percentage and vote total.
That's crazy.
I know. I was actually really happy when I saw it. Like it kind of hurt as being an employee of Tulsi, and like that's kind of my failure and loss that we lost to Bill Weld. But also like good for you, Bill. Like I'm proud of you.
Well, he's pretty popular up here,
Yeah.
As a former governor.
I'd love to get him back into the fold. I know a lot of people would crucify me for saying that, but
Yeah.
I think he's still a good
He
asset.
has a lot of connections, and he's got. I don't like people say, "Oh, he endorsed Hillary." He didn't endorse her. Like, if anybody ever watches it, there's a lot of things like, you said this and your husband said this or whatever, and it's like, if you actually not hear it yourself, you heard it from somebody else, your interpretation is vastly different. So I don't think many people actually watched that. He didn't like. He just said, like, she's a fine person, which she's not a fine person, but like, I don't know his personal life. Maybe they're actually friends.
Yeah.
I can imagine that they're friends because, rich people hang out with other rich people. I don't know. Like, all my friends are poor. So
same.
Yeah. Like, we all hang out together. There's nothing wrong with, not all of us are libertarian. Not all of us are the same political. What I'm saying is, like, who knows? Maybe that's his friend. Whatever. I don't know. I don't know if him and Bill and Hillary hang out by his pool. Whatever.
I personally don't give a shit.
No, I don't either. So if he was, she's my friend, she's fine. He didn't say, like, you should vote for her, which is an endorsement. Or I say you should vote for her. That's an endorsement. But maybe I'm too technical in what people think or say.
Yeah. I mean, I say that I would say that he gave her more credit than she is due, but like you said, we don't know his life. Maybe he knows a different side of her. I don't really give a shit. Maybe that's not an unforgivable sin,
right? No, it's not. And like, he didn't cost the election. Like, that wasn't him. But no, I don't.
We didn't have a chance anyway. We still did better than anyone's ever done.
Right, exactly. It was a great showing, and so many states got ballot access and like extra money, and extra money by saving the money that they were going to have to spend to get petitions, and because some of those petitions are like $5 a signature when it breaks down. So he didn't lose the election, but also he did save a lot of money for states that needed that ballot access. And also got New Mexico as a recognized party, right? Like, or a major party status. So there's like a lot of good things that came out of that. Had she said that? No, probably not. But maybe, like I said, maybe saw her in the woods, hiking in New York or wherever the hell she lives now. And he was like, "Oh, hey," and she's like, "Oh, thank you for saying that nice thing about me on whatever the hell news show it was on." Who knows? I mean, I don't know. I don't hang out with him.
Yeah, I did try to whip him as many votes as I could while I was campaigning for Tulsi. Because
if the person was like, "I'm not voting for her because I'm a Republican."
Yeah, because it was only a semi-open primary, right? So if they were a registered Republican, I started working for her literally 2 days before the deadline to switch. So only one weekend of me out there was, could I even pitch, change your registration tomorrow? So the whole rest of the time, if they said I'm a registered Republican, I go, okay, what about Bill Weld? And
you're like, I'm going to pick Trump just because.
I got a lot more people that said Weld than I expected. I mean, which was kind of shown by his over 4% margin. Like, I mean, it's not great, but I mean,
no.
It was enough people, at least they knew who he was. When I said Bill Weld, they were like, "Oh yeah, I've looked into him." A lot of them actually had a reason why not to vote for him, which in my opinion is a lot better than not knowing who he is.
Right. No, exactly. Like, the name recognition's mostly already there. It's like when people mention Market Basket, because if you're up here, Market Basket, it's like the grocery store. It's like the nice grocery store. So if you go anywhere else and you hear somebody mention a Market Basket, you're like, "Oh, you're from New England?" Just like Bill Weld is the Market Basket of New England.
That's like a tweetable quote. You have to remember that later. Bill Weld is the Market Basket of New England.
All I do is talk in tangents.
There you go. So I was talking to a friend of mine today and mentioned that I was going to have you on the show, and asked kind of some questions that they would have for you as a candidate for LNC at large. And so I think the most interesting question the best question that I heard was, on the LNC, would you focus more on growing the party in numbers or specific campaign success?
So that's a good question. I would focus more on, like, I think I touched on a bit in the beginning, getting more people involved, because we need more people. We need the women. We need the children. We need the youth. Getting more people in will give us more dollars, and then also having more people will potentially give us better and more candidates in the future as well.
Yeah.
I know everybody's always like, I wish the national would focus more on these candidates, but some of the candidates, and I think we all know this, some of the candidates are just candidates and they don't door knock and they don't do anything. So what do you want in reality? And like, this is not something that's coming from anybody but myself. In reality, would you want every single candidate how many people ran in 2018? 1,600 people, whatever. Like, I don't know. That was probably a way overestimate. But would you want the National Party to focus on all of those people where some of them weren't even, going to go knock on a single door?
No.
Or do anything? Like, you can't pick winners and losers, but you can't be like, every single person needs a hand holding. And also, a lot of times, the people who live in Podunk Town, whatever, in the middle of nowhere, they don't care what the National Party's doing or saying or whatever.
Yeah.
They care what's going on in their town. And I get so unnaturally furious when I see people on Twitter tweeting about how shitty the National Party is from their candidate Twitter. Do you think your constituents care what your opinion is about my husband? They do not. They want to know, what are you going to do about the speed bumps on Main Street that everybody hates? What are you going to do about the trash in the park? What are you going to do about X, Y, and Z? Not what you care about if Bill Weld endorsed Hillary Clinton. No one cares. Your constituents don't care. So I think it goes back and forth where you don't want to have a national profile when you have some of these smaller races. And sometimes that can actually hurt the smaller races, especially like in smaller towns where they're distrusting of anybody who's not usually a Republican. And so to not trick people, but to just keep party information separate. You know what I mean? So the Frontier Project is probably a better use.
Yeah, I have 2 different Twitters for a reason.
Right.
I have 4 of them actually. So
oh God.
it's a problem.
But yeah, the Frontier Project is probably more for the signaling to which winnable races in areas, not just people who are like, I'm just going to file for this and nobody else is running. They're going to win anyway. They don't need national to be in there being like, okay, what do you need from us? So probably a little bit of column A and more of column B for me.
Okay. I definitely feel like there's 2. The party is responsible for both of those tasks, and I feel like each person kind of needs to pick one to focus on. And I definitely would say that the people that say that they are more campaign focused could show it a little bit more sometimes. I have been on plenty of campaigns where I was like, hey, national, could something, anything. And and some of them were completely unwinnable bullshit races like mine. Like I got 3.2%. That was great. Like there was nothing you guys could have done to really get me much more than that. But I think there needs to be a better community of support for the candidates as a whole. But I think that there also needs to be a good support for the membership, and that those are kind of 2 different roles.
Right. I think the candidate support committee needs to be more. I was on the membership support committee, and I spent quite a good amount of hours calling people to thank them for their monthly pledge, which is a good thing to do. But I want to expand on that too. I mean, that's part of the idea that I have for later. But for like the for instance, a very easy thing that we could do that has not been done, and it's been mentioned several times, get together an activist pack for candidates, especially like paper candidates, where it's just like pens, LP pens, some clipboards, whatever branded flyer they want. It's not going to have their specific, so-and-so for Senate or whatever on it, but maybe a place to put a sticker. I don't know. But something where it's like a pack that's already ready. You just order it, you get it. It's $50, whatever. If they want.
I like that.
Canvassing. So there's stuff that can be done, just hasn't been done. But I just don't know. People say, we should do this, we should do that. And that's a problem that one of my in-laws has. We should do this. I'm like, oh yeah, we should, but you're asking me to do it. So just say, can you do this? And I think there's a lot of we shoulds and not a lot of people saying like, can you do this? Can you do this for me?
Yeah.
Or can I do this? Can you help me get a committee formed so I can do this? Like I want to, I'm all about empowering people because, nobody can do all the work. So
yeah. I definitely also think that there is a lot of people that need to say I can a lot more, that are just kind of like hiding and nervous and quiet. And I could name some names, but I'm not going to be that rude. But I think that there is a lot of talent in the LP, and I think a lot of it is getting wasted.
Yes. There's so many really good people.
And like right now, I'm struggling to find a graphics coordinator for New York Senate campaign. Like I know that there are artists in the LP. I know that there's people that can do graphics. I just don't know who they are because I'm not connected to very many people. I've actually kind of started to tighten my circle because I don't have that much time, and I'm just like, okay, I need to somehow reach out to the LP, and there isn't like a support system where we have 25 names on a list already of like, hey, these people are all able to do that.
That's a good idea. Like, and it should be people who have done work on a campaign so that they have you click their name. It's a link to the campaign they did. And even if you hate that person that ran, whatever, you can look at their work and see like what kind of work they did, if you like it.
Yeah.
Or like how much they charge or, whatever. That's a good idea. Like the Liberty Marketplace.
Yeah. I'm currently working on a new website that'll be up probably in like a week, where you can it'll mostly just be a landing page for you to sign up to volunteer on a variety of campaigns, tell where you are, whether or not you want to be online, in person, knock on doors, write letters, comms director, whatever. And then be able to have that as a resource for campaigns, at least as it gets up and running. I'm on, like I said, like 3 campaigns this year. So that'll mostly be going to those campaigns. But it'll be an open resource. And I think that, the LP has the resources to do way better than what I'm going to be able to do on my website with that. And I think that national kind of resource is what we've been lacking and what the other parties have that we don't.
Yeah, no, I agree. And there's like a bunch of stuff that, where did you just said something? Oh, and like getting people to write scripts for phone banking, because I've phone banked for a couple people and all of the scripts are so long. And so I would just say whatever I wanted and get it all across, like I don't need to, if I'm calling you to, sorry, Dan Fishman, but if I'm calling you to thank you for a monthly donation that you're now making, I'm just going to say, hey, thank you. Your recurring donation helps more because we know how much money there's going to be in the budget later, not da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And don't forget to go to lp.org. And like if they were able to put a monthly donation in, they already went to lp.org. They know how to do all that stuff. So I don't need to mention that. So like I said, sorry, Dan, because that was the script. I was like, this script is way too long, and I'm just going to, and nobody's answering the phone anyway, to be honest. Like,
right.
I'm not going to read 3 paragraphs on a voicemail. They'll be like, what the hell is this? Delete, block.
Yeah, I've definitely that's actually my day job has been for the last like 3 years is I work in telemarketing. Um,
Ooh,
so I have seen my fair share of terrible phone banking scripts.
yeah,
Yeah, it's not a fun time.
that was my job in high school because I had
Nice.
soccer practice and I could do it after soccer practice.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was kind of like where I just randomly found myself. I was in New York City, didn't have a job, and I just like went on Craigslist and I was like, ooh, commission sales,
I
sure.
mean, thank God you're not like some kind of weird model.
Right.
Craigslist.
I mean, exactly. Said commission sales with a base pay. I was like, all right, sure, let's go.
Erotic model.
And within a year, I actually owned a company in the industry and have kind of just been going from there. So um, sometimes telemarketing is fun.
Yeah, that's good.
Not really. I kind of hate it. It's my least favorite thing ever. But the industry that I do it in is fun because it's finance. And actually, I broker small business loans. So I get to just talk to business owners across the
Oh,
country all day. And that part's kind of fun.
yeah. Usually
The
they want to talk to somebody other than their employees anyway, so they'll keep.
Right. When I first started out, like my target market was like trucking companies in the Midwest.
Mm.
I could just like 45 minutes. I had just finished working on Larry Sharp's campaign. It was like a couple months after that when I really got into this industry. And so I would just like ramble about how like terrible Obama was to these people, and they just ate that shit up
Right.
because they
They're
were like,
listening to POTUS on or whatever. What's that radio station on the XM? The ones that the truckers listen to, where it's all like, it's like OAN, but it's it's on. Yeah, so like all Trump propaganda. It's great.
yeah. So they loved it. I was talking about, and then they all like took pity on me because I would say I was from New York, and they were like, "Oh, your governor's a piece of shit," and I'm like,
Oh,
"Yeah, he is."
Hey, have you heard of Larry?
Yeah, it was great, and they just ate it up because I was able to connect with them over that stuff. And I think I've long agreed with Larry Sharp's 80-20 rule of as long as I can agree with you on 80% of the stuff, we should work with each other. I think like 90% of Americans agree on 80% of their things.
Yeah.
And that's basically the Libertarian Party, like the basis of the LP is like we're trying to be that 90%. Like,
yeah. I mean, and also, okay, I read through two of the bigger caucuses, platform bylaws, whatever.
which two?
I'm not going to name names, but during an endorsement period, and I'm like, let me just make sure this is okay. Like, this is something. If I'm going to get this endorsement, that it's something that I personally have no objection with. And I swear to God, I could not find a difference. And it's like there are differences, but me reading it and comprehending it. Well, I mean, maybe I'm not so good at reading, but my interpretation of both of these very different platforms is that we all agree, and we're just saying it in a different way, or we're omitting some things so that we don't have to address them, which is what like the planks are here, But we like y'all agree. You do. You hate each other, but you agree.
Right.
Like we can all work together, and everybody has a different method, but if we can iron out that part,
the world would be a better place.
Oh yeah, I know. It's like kumbaya. I'm not trying to be kumbaya at all. You know me. Nick's like, oh, just you wait. They all think you're the nice one, and I'm like, I am the nice one. I am nice. I am.
Between the two of you, you're the nice one.
I am the nice one, but I also have a very short tolerance for just straight up bullshit. Like,
right.
Like, they say, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. There's no two. That's it.
No, fuck that shit.
Yeah. You get one chance. You're late for a meeting. I'm like, I got a bad feeling about you.
I apologize right now for whenever I'm late for a meeting because I do it all the fucking time. It's terrible. It's like my least favorite thing about myself is my inability to show up on time to like 80% of things.
I'm never on time anymore with the kids. I'm on time like if I'm by myself.
Mm-hmm.
But if I've got the kids, I'm like, why? I used to tell people, oh, the secret to have kids, you have to leave 15, you have to think you need to leave 15 minutes earlier. Well, now I've tricked myself into knowing that. And I'm like, well, we can leave whatever time. I'm like, we'll get there. But most of the time I'm meeting other moms. So like, I'm not late to doctor's appointments or dentist appointments or things like that. But like, if we're going on a play date, I'll be like, oh, we're almost there. Like, buckle your seatbelt.
Yeah, it's like, sorry, the train got stuck as I'm like finishing up my breakfast.
Right, yeah, no, I don't do that.
That is the one great thing about living in New York City is that you can unilaterally blame the subway for you being late because at any given point in time, you can be an hour late to whatever it is.
That's like DC. Jeez.
Yeah, it's awful. I hate
it. Because we lived like just north of DC in Maryland, and I worked in Tyson's Corner, Virginia. And I could drive across the bridge and it would take me like 20 minutes because it was 19 miles. So it wouldn't take me hardly any time in the morning because I would be going like 65, 75. So no traffic in the morning for some reason. But every single day going home, it would take like 2 hours. I'm like, it's 19 miles. This is insane. So for my sanity, I started taking I would walk to the bus stop, take the bus down to the metro, take the metro in closest to Tyson's Corner, and then take another bus and then walk a third of a mile. So it was like an hour and 15 minutes if everything was on time. But I was sitting reading whatever. I was reading The Economist. That's a magazine, but that's like a fancy person's magazine. So I was like super educated.
That counts as a book.
Yeah, right. I was super educated during that time, looking for jobs as a CEO of some international company that paid six figures that I was like unqualified for. I'm like, oh, I should look at this one. But if the friggin' train was like late, when then it's always derailing, and I was like, do I want to? So then it would take 3 hours to go sometimes, and that was before Ubers. So if you wanted a taxi, it was like $75 to get there to there.
Right.
So no,
I moved to New York City. Yeah, I moved to New York City right as Uber was starting to take off. So it wasn't really that popular yet. I moved down there about 5 years ago. So I took a taxi once from my apartment to a tournament for Magic the Gathering because I used to be a nerd. So from 160th to 39th. And it was $75. I was like, I saw the price as he stopped, and I was just like,
let me go get my wallet. I'll be back later.
Yeah, I came very close, but in New York City you don't get away with that. They have you like on camera and shit, like
never done that.
Facial recognition and stuff.
Oh my God, no. I'm
not trying to go to jail for a taxi ride.
No.
Magic the Gathering tournament.
I don't even know what that looks like. I know that's shocking considering who my husband is. I don't even know what those cards look like.
My sister actually got me into it as an adult.
Sorry, my hair is all fuzzy because I'm so hot and I keep playing with it and I keep seeing myself and I'm like, what is going on here?
Yeah, my sister is half the reason I'm a nerd. So, which is I think weird because like that's not usual.
Yeah,
it's not very often that your 22-year-old sister gets you into some nerdy card game.
No, usually they're like buying the alcohol.
Yeah. No, I got her into drinking. She got me into the nerdy stuff.
That's hilarious. There's like Nick's much, obviously. I think everybody knows that. I'm the nice one, and Nick's the nerdy one. Mm-hmm. But I'm sure I know he has like Dungeons and Dragons cards, but I don't know where they are. I've never seen them. One time we got invited to a friend's house. A friend for a dinner party, also party. And it was just us and them. And it was like regular food. It wasn't anything dinner party fancy or anything. And then she was like, the real reason we invited you guys over was so you could play Settlers of Catan with us. And I was like, oh, now we're stuck. We're stuck and I can't leave.
Oh,
Oh my God. I was like, kill me. Kill me.
so I would have like instantly assumed that they were swingers as they started that.
It would have been
spiel.
better than Settlers of Catan. Probably would have gone faster.
Probably less arguing, that's for sure.
I was like, oh, this is the worst game. And then Nick was like, we should get this game. I'm like, no, we'll never play it. We'll never play it. We have a lot of card games with the kids, but
I'm actually personally a huge fan of the game. We used to play it at my summer camp. So I am quite good. And
do you play Ticket to Ride too?
What?
You play Ticket to Ride also?
No.
I bet you would like that one too.
Yeah, I have not played many board games, but the few that I have, I love. I also kick ass at Life.
I should get Life for the kids. We played Monopoly for the first time last summer, I think. And one of the kids lost, and you know how that went. So then we had to play the next day, and Ruth won, and she was like drunk with power. It was hilarious. She was like, I'm the queen of all of this, and I was like, this is why I hate this game. But
yeah, I actually just played a round of Monopoly at a friend's pool party, or like it wasn't a pool party. He has a hot tub, and there was like movie night, party, hot tub, campfire. But we played a round of Monopoly. It was like a 12-hour party, and we played a round of Monopoly in the middle. And I was like, this is the dumbest party game in the world.
Everyone's mad.
Yeah, I mean,
people stop caring.
Yeah, it literally, for the most part, I think it was an 8-person game when it started. Multiple people traded out. And then multiple people just gave up. Only like 3 people actually lost.
Did you
One
win?
of them being me. No, I was third, which actually was kind of respectable because I didn't do shit for the entire game. I just kind of like hopped around, kept landing on my own properties, and like didn't do anything, and then eventually died.
Nick was like trying to tell us that there's like a strategy that if you get the most landed on properties are like St. Charles Place and Virginia Avenue or something. So if you can get those, then you'll win the game. And so he was like, he told us that after he tried to buy them from our daughter. He was like, you were trying to make her lose.
That sounds about right. Yeah, I mean, there's definitely statistics in it if you want to be a super nerd, but I think your husband might be a little bit nerdier than I am. So,
I'm sure. Yeah.
Okay, so you've said a couple of times phrases like one of the things that you would want to do on the LNC. What are some other changes that you would want to make if you got elected?
I feel like there's I don't know if this is something I can do, but I'm sure that somebody will tell me that I can't do it or how to do it, which an empowered LNC would be like, this is how we can do it. If you want to try and do it, we can show you how to do it. I don't think the way that the COC is set up is actually beneficial to the LNC or the party as a whole. And I'm not saying anything disparaging about the COC at all. But I don't see the benefit of having so many people who are on the LNC as members of the COC, especially like we're running into this little problem right now with the pandemic and planning.
Yeah. Do you want to explain to people watching that might not know what the COC is?
Oh, so the COC is the Convention Oversight Committee, and right now it's like 4 people who are chosen by the board, and then 4 people on the LNC. I think I have those numbers right. I don't really pay attention to what's going on right now because it's just maddening.
Yeah.
But
don't blame me there.
I just don't. I think that there shouldn't be so much intermixing of a committee that, like, the LNC should not be in the business of planning committees itself. And so I think that it should be more representative of the delegation as a whole. Something like where we're not having people stacked on one side of the country or from the largest delegations or whatever. So something more like, this is just thinking off the top of my head, something more like having 2 people from the 2 largest delegations and 2 people from the 2 smallest delegations, or the 2 people from the 2 smallest delegations that apply to be there. You don't want to just be like, well, you're from Wyoming, so do you want to do it? You want people who want to do it, but you also don't want like 10 people from California to be the whole convention oversight committee and then be like, we're doing everything and it's all for the people that can benefit larger states, or people with more money, or people with more vacation, or whatever, whatever the case may be, by where they're represented. So if it was something more representative of the entire delegation instead of just a spattering of people, it might mean the committee is a little bit larger, but I think that would be beneficial in the long run. But that's just, and that's only really because of what's going on right now. And it's not anything that's like a major pressing issue to the party itself. I think there's a lot of bylaw changes that happen frequently. And I don't know if you're doing something that people don't like, and then they're like, well, we need to do a bylaws change about it. But then like something happens where they need that previous bylaws back. Then they're changing it again. And it's like, well, why don't you guys just decide on what you want to do? And I know this is easier said than I'm not in there. But there's a lot of like just back and forth stuff that I don't know. Maybe it's just what's going on right now. But that's not like, none of this is the reason that I decided to run, none of it. So to make the LNC more efficient, I guess, is everybody's goal. And I really hope that whether or not I am chosen to represent the at-large delegation, that whoever is in there will work a little bit more cohesively than they are right now.
That would be the goal. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I personally hope it's you.
I do too.
Do you know who you're running against? Is that?
I know other people who are running. I don't feel like I'm running against many of them, because I feel like all of them would be a good choice. So I think Paige Sexton is definitely running. Eric Rodsepp is running. Boomer Shannon is running. I'm trying to think. Bill Redpath is running again. I'm trying to think. There's other people. I think Omar Requero is running. He's actually up here now. He's at PorcFest. I am not. I feel like I saw that somewhere. And I don't know.
And how many slots are there?
There's 5. Joe had a post on his page with all of the names of everybody running for at-large. But I only know right now who was endorsed by the Pragmatist Caucus, because I was on their little picture.
Aw.
Yeah. So like I said,
did they endorse more than 5 people?
No, just 5.
So it's a good bet that you will be able to represent us.
I hope so.
I like to be optimistic when it comes to things like that.
I hope so. I sent 1,000 postcards today, which I was like, this really sucks. Like, I spent all this time working with the designer and then the postcard people, and then my kids stamped all of them for me this morning. Because I was doing them last night and I got through 400 and it took me like 2 hours to stamp them. Yeah. And I was like, oh my gosh, my back hurts. I don't want to do this. And then one of my friends was like, oh, good thing you have a tiny little army to help you. And I said, yeah, but I don't want them to mess it up, because I have exactly 1,000 postcards and I have exactly 1,000 stamps. And so there's no room for error. And then I was like, you know what, fuck this. These kids have to help me. It's like, hey, let's have a race and see who can do the most. And
genius.
So we had a stamp race, and then I printed out 1,000 labels, and we had to go back through all of them and label them. And we only lost 1 label out of all of the things. And it was because Ava had it, and she got it, she has really curly hair. She got it stuck in her hair somehow. And I was like, so there's 1 handwritten one to a delegate in California. I don't remember who it is, but
she's hilarious.
This lady hand wrote all these, no, just that one. But yeah, so then I was like, all this hard work, and I'm taking it to the freaking post office. Like, hopefully they don't lose it. Thanks, government.
Right. Oh, that would be terrible. We can't really trust the government, though, can we?
No, and I was like, I have no other option. Like, it's the epitome of being a libertarian. I like outsourced all this work from libertarian. The designer was a libertarian. The postcard company is a libertarian, and my kids are definitely libertarians. And then I'm taking it to the freaking government agency and trusting them that they'll mail it to all these 1,000 libertarians. So hopefully they all get sent out.
Oh, it's not like they have much to do at the moment, right?
I know. It's like I bought 1,000 postcard forms to keep you in business.
Oh. Oh, that was a rougher hit than I was expecting.
Like, careful.
I love it. It's hard to find weed in upstate New York right now for whatever unknown reason.
Because college has been out.
Yeah, and COVID really killed the drug trade. Like, I fully believe that. Like, it shut down traffic, and it made it more expensive and harder to find.
You're supposed to be 6 feet apart. How are you going to give anybody any money?
Right.
Prepay?
Like, toss me the
Friends and family PayPal?
Yeah. Been there, done that. That's for sure.
I don't know. I don't do that.
So if you have endorsed Joe Bishop Henchman for chair as well, or have you kind of stayed out of that race?
I've stayed out of it, but I'm voting for Joe. I don't see like if my endorsement would mean anything, of course I would do it. But like, everybody's like, oh, I'm endorsing so and so. I'm like, does anybody care? Like, does anybody care what I'm saying right now? Probably not. Like, not right now. I mean, like, if I was to say I'm endorsing X, Y, and Z for at large, and I have. If people are like, hey, could you endorse me because I want to share it on my page? Yes, of course. You're my friend. I'm going to endorse you. But no, I'm definitely voting for Joe.
Okay.
I just found out Tony's running too, though. Not that I mean, I was like, Tony.
I can admit a little part of that. He was actually on the show last week, and
you talked him into it.
I don't want to take credit for it, but I definitely tried.
You vouched for him.
I did, because he's been good. I think that honestly, like, a lot of my decision was swayed by polling, to be perfectly honest, because I did see a lot of polls go around that had like an other, or even Tony, if it included him, in like the 20s percentage, and like actually kind of sneaking up, and like he was kind of neck and neck with Shipley in a lot of polls, and I was like, okay,
he should run for vice chair.
That I feel like the right person might be able to talk him into that.
Well, it's not going to be, should I endorse him? While I'm at it. Yeah, I don't
know. I think maybe one of the chair candidates might be able to talk him into it, but I don't know. I won't speak for him on that. Yeah. If I was him, I would.
He's fine. He would be a great candidate, but I'm voting for Joe, and I'm not going to change that. Not that one vote matters, but
I won't be there, so I am also not on the delegate list anyway.
Yeah, you didn't get a postcard. You did not get a postcard. I can send you one. I have like 4 left over.
I don't think I will be able to make it there unless Yale gives us the weekend off, which wouldn't be totally crazy, because I feel like I shouldn't be the only one that's working for them that would want to be there. So,
but you start the 4th, and then what are they going to give you the weekend off? Like 2 days after you start?
Yeah, that would be ridiculous. But one can dream. But
4 months off.
Yeah. Like, can I start late? Maybe. I don't think that would be starting off on a good.
No, they're like, you're fired.
Yeah. I'm not quite that good. It was kind of fun getting to say that I worked for Tulsi Gabbard on the interview, though, because the person that originally interviewed me was like a huge Tulsi fan. So she was like, "Oh my God, you worked for her? What did you do?" And I was like, "Oh, I was her." I was her deputy volunteer coordinator nationally, and she was like, "Really?" I was like, Perfect. That was an easy interview.
That's nice. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, I mean, it was awesome. She was the greatest boss I've ever had in my entire life. I could not ask to
Very
work with
nice.
somebody better. Did you ever get to meet her?
No, because all the things were like in the evening times or like,
Right.
yeah, yeah.
That is a shame.
I
That makes
know.
me sad.
I know.
Well, 24, she'll be back, I'm sure.
Well, hopefully I'll
And
lose my freaking COVID 15 by the time I see her because I would watch her workouts and I'm like, oh yeah, I like her. Like she's in shape. And now I'm like, oh, I'm not eating another loaf of bread. Stuck in the house.
yeah, she definitely is a force to be reckoned with physically. She has won multiple wrestling matches and other things with her husband and other members of the staff, snowball fights and football games, and very very formidable opponent.
Did Iron Man too, or no? Just Gary Johnson's the only Iron Man.
I don't think she does Ironmans. I think she
She
does
could.
marathons
I bet she
more.
could.
Hmm. I should like challenge her to one.
Yes, you should challenge her to one.
I'll make my dad do it. My dad's an Iron Man.
Oh, okay.
Done it
Okay.
like 4 times. I'll have him do it.
Really? That's amazing.
Yeah, I'll be like, I'll have him challenge like Tulsi and Gary Johnson, like who wins.
She would.
Have it be for charity.
Yeah.
Of course she would win, but it would be awesome.
I don't know how old her dad is, but like she's in her 40s.
55.
Yeah, she would.
So oh yeah, no, she would destroy my dad, but maybe my dad and Gary Johnson would be able to be kind of close, I think. Like he might be able to. My dad would probably end up in the middle.
Nick went to some campaign rally for Gary Johnson, and I think it was in New Mexico. And it was like at the end, like Gary Johnson like rode 600 miles on a bicycle and then like did a campaign rally. And I was like, the hell is this guy doing? Like, we could have had him, and now we got friggin' Trump
dying genocidal maniacs.
Water like.
A real president drinks bourbon.
Yeah, I love that one.
Or vodka.
I was gonna say it's the same color as your
I know, I didn't think that through. It's not as bad as when I have I've made the mistake of a bottle of Mountain Dew, which is the exact same shade of green as the green screen behind me. Oh. So I just like disappear my face a little bit. It's quite amusing. I remembered a glass today instead of a bottle of something. So
I'm at Nick's office, so there's not much here. I don't have a green screen.
It's one of like the sadder things about getting the job is like I just put in like months of perfecting like a setup, got a new camera, got the microphone, the green screen, and then like I get to pack it all up in the next 2 weeks. So
you gonna do the show on the
road? Yes, I will most likely be either shortening it or just moving it back an hour because I will only work till 7 p.m. on any given day. So I won't be able to start the show at 7, but so it'll be either like 8 to 9 or 8 to 10, something like that. Would be the plan, or maybe like 2-hour shows spread out in the week or something like that. But I definitely, I will take the camera and the microphone with me.
Nice.
Because this has been honestly really awesome, and it's been the key to my sanity during this lockdown is getting to work on this YouTube. It's given me something to do. I've learned so much about a lot of people and a lot of random things.
Oh my God.
Because doing the actual the show for the YouTube channel, I've been like, I do what I call deep dives into legislation. So I've learned about all sorts of stuff that I didn't know about, like the One Subject at a Time Act, the Justice for Breonna Taylor Act. We talked about what else? Quite a few things, but it's kept me busy in a time when I would have just been like binging Netflix for the last 3 months. So
like how many times can you watch Tiger King?
I actually have avoided that wholly. I have not watched a single minute of Tiger King.
Did you watch? You don't watch the like lady shows. There was one I was like Blind Love.
No.
It was with Nick Lachey. It was like a dating show. It was like very beginning of COVID. was like,
I think I do. I know what you're talking about. My friend, one of the people that worked on Tulsi's campaign,
she on
another 22-year-old male, was watching it when I went over to his house once.
Oh, it's so good. But I was like, we need a second season, Nick Lachey, pronto. And now we're really into me and my older kids are really into 90 Day Fiance. And do you watch that?
No.
We don't really watch a lot of TV, but I feel like this is what happened when my kids were at school. They would get very excited about TV because we don't watch a lot of TV. And so that's all they would talk about. They're like, oh, I love Pound Puppies. And the teacher's like, your kids watch too much TV. And I'm like, they really don't. But that's why. It's like when a kid who doesn't eat a lot of sweets goes to a birthday party and they like friggin' eat the entire cake because their mom only lets them have, limited amount of sweets. Like that would also be my kids. So 90 Day Fiance, that people meet through like Instagram or usually it's Instagram. I'm like, I don't know. I barely even know I don't know what TikTok does. And I barely use Instagram. But like one of these ladies is like 60 years old and she got catfished. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, this would totally be my mom. She would totally be like, yeah, I found a boyfriend and he's in Nigeria. Just well,
oh my God.
It's like he's real.
He's real.
Like, and he's like 20 and he's got all these muscles. No, you're 60 years old. He does not know. So one of the people, all right, tickle my throat. One of the people was a lady, lifestyle, what do you call them? Influencers, a YouTube influencer. And she was on YouTube and the other, she found another lady in Australia. So, and they were both bisexual, but neither one of them had come out to their parents. And so watching this with with Ruth, my oldest daughter, and the one in Australia is like introducing her as the girlfriend, but she was like unsure of how to do it. And I said, well, why do you think that she might be sad about telling her dad about her girlfriend? And she goes, well, I don't know. Maybe he doesn't want her to leave the house because he'll be lonely. And I was like, oh, we are great parents, because she wasn't like, because she's a lesbian or like, ladies don't date ladies. I was just so happy. And I was like, we're going to watch 90 Day Fiance because this is part of homeschooling.
There we go. Social justice and tolerance class.
Tolerance, yeah. Yes, but the one lady did actually go to Nigeria to meet her boyfriend. And she was mean. And that was another thing. She was like this 50-something-year-old white woman with a bad perm from outside of Philadelphia.
Was her name Karen?
I know her name was Lisa, but I kept wanting to call her Tina because she, like, no offense to any Tinas, but she looked like a Tina to me. But she went to Nigeria to meet her boyfriend, and he was like a rap star in Nigeria. But he was like 24 or something. He was very young. So then I'm like, okay, well, maybe they have some undercover racism that I don't know about. So let's talk to the kids about this. And so I was like, well, what do you think about this relationship? Like this woman is very old. She's white and he is African. And she's like, I would not like that relationship because she is so mean to him. And I was like, okay, that's right. That is the right answer. She's a terrible person. It has nothing to do with Asian skin color, but damn, was she mean to him. So I'm sure everyone's like,
bravo.
Thanks for being on the show.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
I mean, that is 100% better than I was at your kid's age. I can tell you that. So we're moving in the right direction as humans, I think.
I hope so. But I don't know. You know me. It's just, I'm trying to make sure that the kids, like we went to the Black Lives Matter protest and Joel the entire time was like, can we go home? I'm hungry. And I'm like, do you even know why we're here? And so we did have to have like an actual in-depth conversation about like, we're here because many people have been murdered by the police. You can wait 20 damn minutes for a peanut butter sandwich. Okay. Like you can not complain loudly while we're doing something solemn and somber to show other people that we support them. You can just like, please don't. Please don't ask for food right now. So
Right.
we had a little talk with him in a loving but stern way, like, this is why we're here. And, this kind of conversation is not necessarily appropriate in this kind of place. So, but, he's 8. So
Yeah.
hopefully nobody was like, wow, your kid's an asshole. He just wants to eat.
I mean, I feel like at 8, there really is only one thing on a boy's mind, and that is food.
Yeah, peanut butter sandwich. Gotta get home.
Yeah.
Gotta get a peanut butter sandwich. I'm like, peanut butter is still there. Don't worry. George Floyd is not. Okay, let's be here for a little bit longer.
Damn.
I mean,
Yeah.
sorry.
No, I mean, it's true.
That's why I was like, no, done. We're not doing this. I'm not talking about that. So
I was really proud of my parents this year. Through this, because they actually went to a Black Lives Matter protest with me.
Oh,
in
with
Syracuse.
You? Oh, that's good.
Well, actually, so we went to kind of sort of the same one, but not together. So what happened was I found part of the group, and they like dropped me off out of the car, and then they went and parked and tried to like find us. But part of the group had like split off from the rally and went and was like marching around Syracuse. And my parents found that accidentally and like was marching around Syracuse with part of Black Lives Matter while I was at this rally on City Hall steps. And I was like, oh my God, I am so happy. Cause like,
That's amazing.
No offense to them, but 2 years ago, that never would have happened.
Oh, that's great.
And I actually kind of got into an argument with my dad like 2 days prior about it. Cause my dad is kind of the person that he's very like protective. He's very libertarian because he's kind of like, get the fuck off my lawn kind of person. But there is a point where a lot of times he doesn't notice things unless it affects him directly. And so he's very easy he's good at kind of just blocking it out and saying, okay, I'm not gonna pay attention to that right now. I need to provide for my family, make sure I'm being a good dad, a good husband, a good leader of my church, a good person in my job. And he's a great guy. But I got into an argument with him. I was like, what is it going to take for you to like fucking do something, like show up? Like, are you going to just drop me off? Or are you going to stay? Do you care about this?
Did you know that they were coming back?
I didn't when they no, I thought they were just dropping me off, to be perfectly honest. So it was a surprise.
Marching.
It was awesome. I called them when it was done. I was like, where are you? And they're like, oh, we're over like here. And I hear in the background like chanting, and I was like, where the fuck are you? The thing's over. Like, where are you? And they're like,
throwing
5 blocks.
At Taco Bell. Like, no justice, no peace.
It was awesome. It was truly one of the proudest moments I've ever had as a son. So I think the needle's moving in the right direction, just on a national level. Our generation is convincing the ones above us, and then the next generation, my nephew, I don't think is going to understand the concept of racism ever. I mean, he understands the different races of dinosaurs very, very clearly. He understands those differences. But as far as skin color, he's 4.5 now. Yeah.
Yeah. There's like, okay, so Ruth read the, but she's 10. Almost, no, she's 9. I don't know why I said she's 10. She's almost 10. She's 9.5. She read the Trevor Noah book. They did like an abridged for young readers, which is still too old for 4.5. Even if your sister read it to him, it would be too much. And she read the young readers version of the Malala book during this time that like so much was going on, that I was like, there's so many things that I can't even teach you, or like why things are like that. So you need to read stories of people, how like it affected them, so that you can gain empathy, because we can teach our children like, we don't treat anybody poorly, right? We don't. We don't treat people poorly. But until they realize like how they would feel if they were in that situation and they were treated poorly, and those kinds of books. But there's like little kid books too.
Yeah.
That go after the same kind of thing, where so and so has different colored skin, but that doesn't mean he's a different person, or whatever it's called. I know there's tons of books, but
yeah. Yeah, my sister is very much more of a Netflix mother than a book mother. She does. There are books in the house, but my nephew doesn't quite read yet. He's 4.5. He should be. He doesn't really try. He like understands, but he doesn't read.
Yeah.
He can like look at a thing and understand what it says, but if we said what, but he wouldn't be able to actually tell me what it was.
Like
But he
word
still
for word.
knows how to do everything. He can click through into Netflix and play whatever the fuck he wants to play. So he's got that down. He can log in and everything. Just pick up your phone and just be like, beep, 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 beep. Okay, that's
Right? Isn't that crazy? Like, I
on
didn't even
that
have a
show.
cell phone. I didn't have a cell phone until I was like, I'm not even kidding. This is not an exaggeration. I didn't have a cell phone until I was 19 years old. And when I got it, I was mad. I was like, I don't want people knowing where I am all the time. Just leave me alone. And I'm kind of, I guess I'm still like that. Like, don't call me. Don't just text me, or don't also, just don't.
Or just don't also.
Just don't.
Should get that on a t-shirt.
Or just don't also.
Valerie for LNC.
Well, okay. So I was like, did so-and-so call you to talk about running for at-large? And I was like, I don't think anybody has my phone number. Let's just keep it that way. Like, I have a Facebook page and I have a dedicated email address. And I think, I don't need people calling me all the time, because also I can't, when am I going to answer the phone? The kids are always like, especially if I get on the phone, then they're like, they come over and they're like, and I'm like, what do you need? Do you need juice? Like, what? Get it then. And then I'm like, what? Oh, can I put ice in this cup? Yes. No. What? Why did you wait till I got on the phone to ask if you could get ice? Just do it. Or like randomly pointing at things and then attempting to mouth to me, but all they really do is just go, and like, those aren't words. Like, no. Yeah. So no, you can't call me. If you call me, it has to be prearranged during nap time only.
So do you have like a designated phone voice? Because I know my mom could have been like screaming at us and the phone would ring and she'd be like, hello.
Yes.
It's like completely different human.
Well, that's because then the kids know I'm on the phone. So stop screaming for 1 second. But my grandmother has dementia, and she forgets like how many kids I have sometimes. But I usually call her when it's quiet, because she gets confused when she hears the kids' voices as to which child it is, and then it frustrates her because she can't remember everybody's name, or like which age is that noise. You know what I mean? Like, She knows that we have a small child, but she always thinks that it's Ava, and Ava is 5. But the voice that she generally hears is Zane, and he's 2. So she gets frustrated with that kind of stuff. So anyway, I try and call her when Zane is asleep, because then he's not making any noise, and I let the kids do their tablets for a short amount of time. So during that time, I work or I call my grandma, and every time she goes, "It's awful quiet there." I'm like, you don't know what I had to do to get it to this point. So let's stop commenting on how quiet my house is. Everyone is safe and everyone is fine. Otherwise, it's madness, and you don't know how to text people. So we'll just chat on the phone for a minute.
I had to do 3 for a weekend 2 weeks ago. My sister left her 3 children at my parents' house, so it was me and my parents had the 3 kids for the weekend.
I wish.
Or sorry, 2 kids. We had 2 out of the 3, because the third one was having a surgery in Rochester, so we had the other 2 kids, the 4-year-old and the 2-year-old.
Woo!
Yep.
Been there.
Fun times.
They wake
Loved
up so
every second
early.
of it. No, they don't.
What?
They don't go to sleep.
Oh. That's where I think
we did better than I think they normally do, because I tired them out.
Oh,
I would like take them outside at like 10:30 and just make them run in circles
at night. Oh my God!
I live in the middle of nowhere, so
no. But I mean, if they were still awake, I would be losing my mind. But I'm like full time. Nick leaves the house to come over here to this office so he can work, because you cannot work in our house. I do work from home, but I've been working from home since 2011, so I can do it. I just can, make my mind be in that place, or get the kids settled into an activity or something. But he here's one kid like fighting. He's like, I gotta leave. It's too loud in here. And I'm like, that is nothing, my dear. But yeah, what was I saying? I don't even know. All I had was water. I promise you. I told you I was going to bring wine, but I didn't because I have to drive home. I don't want to
There's
drive.
vodka in here, and that was lots of weed. So
You're
don't worry.
stationary
I'm
there.
actually.
Um, but I
I
don't know.
think that's one of the advantages that I feel like I had from being homeschooled was learning how to work in a bullshit environment. Like my sister and my mother just being obnoxious all the time, fighting constantly, me fighting with both of them constantly, just arguing over the dumbest shit possible. Like, because
And you
it was
didn't have
24/7, 365 my entire childhood. Like, we were both homeschooled all the way through.
Oh my gosh. That's what I was going to say. Like, okay, so Nick is gone all day and he comes back like at dinner time and we do cook dinner together, not me and Nick, but the kids and I. That's I mean, it's not part of homeschool, but it is because you're measuring and whatever.
Yeah.
So when he comes home, it's time to eat. They eat, bathe. Usually I have them bathed ahead of dinner because they like to watch a educational program before bed. But if they don't get everything done, then they have to go to bed. So bedtime routine starts at 7:30. That's when Zane goes to bed. And then everybody else has to be in their room and they can read as long as they are quiet. But every single night, of course, they come out and they try and watch the TV around the corner because I'll watch like whatever goofy shows, Real Housewives or something while I'm doing my work. And they'll come around the corner and hide and pretend that I can't see them. And then they start talking louder and louder and louder. And sometimes it's like 10 o'clock. And I'm like, you guys need to go to bed. You're still awake. Like I've been with you schooling, doing everything, stuck in the house because we can't go anywhere. Now the playgrounds are open, so at least we can do that. But it's been
That's
like
good.
92 degrees. So like mommy reaches her mommy limit at like 5 p.m. and you guys are still awake and it's 10 p.m. So, and Nick is usually like on a phone call or something and he has these noise canceling headphones. I'm like, maybe I should just get those. And like both of us will be in like, have no idea what's going on. Just
I can say as a kid of stressed out parents, and like stay at home mom, we won't burn the house down. Like you'll be fine.
No, usually like if they do something, it's like something so silly and they're like, I'm like, why did you do that? And they're like, well, we didn't want to ask you because we knew you'd be mad. And I'm like, well, I'm more mad that you did it without asking. But it's like goofy stuff like they squirt toothpaste in the sink and like paint with it. And I'm like, why did you do that? Well, because you would be mad. Well, I am mad because toothpaste is not cheap and now it's all in the sink. And what I'm not gonna like scrape it out and put it in a Ziploc bag for you to reuse because that's gross. Like, so this is wasteful. But like it's usually bathroom products that they do that. Like, well, I didn't want to tell you because you would be mad. Like, how come all the
they don't do it?
Yeah. Or ask me, and then I'll be like, no, you shouldn't do that. But I can give you an idea of something you can do that's similar. Like if you want to paint the inside of the sink with toothpaste, I'll give you shaving cream. It's cheaper, and I'm not going to be mad. It's much cheaper than toothpaste. But you want
some food coloring in there. Have some fun with it.
Yes. If you ask me, it's better than sneaking. Like I don't know. Are you
always
a David Sedaris fan? And he was like. Told this story, or maybe it wasn't even David Sedaris. It was on NPR, so I just assumed it was David Sedaris, about this kid when he turned some mid-20s. He wanted to tell his dad that he was gay, but he was afraid of what his dad was going to say. But his dad basically already knew because he was like, "But you were sneaking this whole time, and it would have been much better for both of us if you hadn't been sneaking. If you would have just told me right from the beginning." And so we try to like instill that, and I think that actually is a good libertarian philosophy as well. Like instead of trying to sneak around and do something that you want to get done, like let's talk about it and come to a solution together instead. Oh, my froze up again. We froze up. How's my internet? Just me talking to myself. Come back, David. Hey.
Okay, sorry about that.
Okay. I sang a little song.
I hope that part recorded.
I was like, it's just me and I'm talking to myself.
The first thing I will do when this is over is go to exactly this second in the show and see if it recorded you or me.
I made a face like.
But so if I know you mentioned that you don't have a whole lot of social media or anything, but if somebody does want to see what you're up to or get a hold of you, what's the best way for them to do that?
So if they are not a delegate and they are not going to get a postcard, they won't see the email address on there, but it's very easy. But my Facebook page is Valerie for LNC. I think I have to look. Is that right?
That's what you said
That's
earlier.
yeah. Valerie for LNC at large is the title of the page, but that is the tag that I used, Valerie for LNC, because it's available. I don't know any other Valeries. And my dedicated email for the campaign, which hopefully I will get, a different one if I get elected, Valerie4LNC@gmail.com. And right now I have 0 emails in there, but those just went out today, 1,000. But if anybody has any questions, and if you really, 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 really want to talk to me, I will send you my phone number to call me, and we will schedule a time to talk. It's just whenever people are like, "Hey, can we talk?" I'm like, "Yes," at 1:35 p.m. Eastern. It has to be specific, or it has to be like when the kids are in bed.
I'm glad that you were able to take 2 hours out of your day to have this conversation.
Well, I mean, the kids have been in bed now for hopefully an hour.
Nice. Bravo. You should write a book, because I think women across the world would love to find out how you get your children in bed by 7:30.
But I also just said they don't go to sleep until like 10 o'clock.
At least you can pretend. That's
Right.
better than most parents get.
Well, we used to
Most parents, they're climbing all over them until midnight.
No, I'm like, go. It's my time now. But I work. I have to work at that time. We're getting a nanny in August, 3 days a week. So that will free up my evenings, but that's still not going to mean like the kids should come and hang out with me after a certain time. Like it's mom. I always say this is mom and dad's time. We don't see each other all day. And we, to be good parents, we have to have a healthy relationship with one another. So if we are always like doing kids stuff and never spending one-on-one time, then we're not going to be a good example of mom and dad or in a loving relationship, which is funny. On the Father's Day card, not to talk about Nick, but on Nick's Father's Day card, Ruth drew on the cover a picture of him, and it was like, "Happy Father's Day, Dad," and then like all these things that he loved, and it was like a glass of champagne with a raspberry in it, a plate of chicken parmesan, a can of IPA, it said IPA on it, and a picture of me, because those are all the things he loved. And I was like, that's sweet. And then Ava's, she wrote, "Haha, we know you love mommy so much." I was like, "Happy Father's Day."
I think that is parenting well done right there. That is a good example.
Like, God, you were the worst parents ever. Like, why'd you make us homeschool?
I can say that every homeschooled child has thought that thought at least once, no matter how short of a period of time that you homeschool them, but only like once or twice. So you're good.
I hope. Oh yeah, we get on the Zoom. Like I do a lot of Zoom, which you didn't have as a child at homeschool, and throughout school. So they do like multi-day courses and stuff like that. And every time Joel gets in the camera and he's like, I'm like, stop bothering the teacher. I mean, you don't do that to me. And he was like, yeah, but you're my mom. And so like, so that's a good for, he has a little bit more respect for me, but I also want him to have respect for anyone who is educating him. Mm-hmm. But the teacher's not going to do anything. The teacher's not going to be like, go to your room. She's going to be like, turn your camera off or go sit down or something, So did we talk enough about being libertarian? I feel like we didn't. We just talked about it.
Yeah. What does it mean to you to be a libertarian?
I mean, I think the standard answer is don't hurt people and don't take their stuff, right? But I think this is another tangent. One of my friends recently shaved his beard, and he was like, he's had a beard for a very long time. And the comments from actual libertarians were like, "Oh, you look like a woman," or "Oh, congratulations on Father's Day, you turned into a mother," and like, yeah, and I was
Wow.
like, these are really rude, and I prefer on Nick, I prefer cleanly shaven face. I like that better. That's my opinion. But you know what I don't do? I don't go around and tell people like I hate your beard and it's stupid and you should shave it off and what are you trying to prove? But this is also going with the people who are fighting about wearing a mask. They're like, well, oh, what are you, a statist? Is that why you're wearing a mask? Like, it's not bothering you. I'm not telling you you have to wear a mask. You should not be bothering me about me having a beard or me having a mask or me doing whatever. Like, none of that should concern you. And I think
Right.
that all of this stuff, while beards and masks are not really related, it's all about like minding your own business. Unless it is physically hurting you that I am wearing a mask or that my friend has a beard or doesn't have a beard or whatever, keep your damn opinion to yourself, right?
Right.
It doesn't help. It doesn't help anything.
I
So
don't know.
that's what I guess that's what being a libertarian.
I like that. Yeah, I got shat on in a Second Amendment group from New York because I posted a meme. It said Trump bans bump stocks, and then it was a Gadsden flag with like the snake being gagged, and it said "Tread harder, Daddy."
Uh-huh.
And it said like Trump supporters.
Yeah.
And so I shared that in a Second Amendment group. And everybody just was like, okay, then fucking go vote for Biden then. And one person, because my Facebook profile picture, I have a mask
Oh
on.
yeah, you have a mask, right?
I wore it. I was about to walk into Price Chopper, where they will not let you go into unless you have a mask on.
Yeah.
So I was walking out of one store into another one. I was like, this looks kind of cool. I liked the suit I was wearing. So that's my profile picture. But this guy was like, you fucking idiot wearing a mask. I don't give a fuck about your damn opinion. And I was like, what the fuck? And that was his only comeback. It was like, I'm wearing a mask, so I must be a fucking idiot. And I was
Yeah,
like,
an idiot. Yeah. I mean, it's
okay, but like, can you rebut the bump stock ban?
oh, this
What
thing.
about openly supporting red flag laws?
Yes,
Trump
like
does that.
they look the other way. They don't care. They don't
Hmm.
care. They don't
It's
care.
because they're fake revolutionaries.
This mask shit has got me so like on edge. Like, just don't. What if I have it? I'm making sure you don't get it. Why does that? What? Why? I'm trying not to tread on you. Why do you want to call me a fucking idiot?
Right. Right. And like, it's not even like we live anywhere near each other. Maybe this guy lives in a state where it's not as strict, but in New York State, you
Oh yeah,
can't go into anywhere without a mask on. That's just like the law right now. So, yeah, I have worn a mask every time I've gone out because you have to. Otherwise, I would have starved by now.
right. You would not even be able to go into a food purchase place. Yeah.
Right. It's
Here,
starting to open up a little bit now where I actually could probably survive without a mask, but it's not worth the dirty looks, honestly. I don't care if that makes me a pussy. Like, I don't care. I would rather wear a mask than have everybody be like,
right. Right.
like,
The other thing, like, okay, most things. I mean, Nick's office is right next to a very popular restaurant, and it's been open for outdoor seating for like 2 weeks, and it's very loud out there right now. And I'm like, man, that sounds like so much fun. I can hear them drinking martinis.
which restaurant?
It's the Crown. It's on Hanover.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, they're only open Wednesday through Saturday right now, but they just did their outdoor seating. So one of my favorite Mexican restaurants here, it's just like Old El Paso. It's like American Mexican food. I mean, coming from Phoenix, you have to know how I feel about Mexican food here.
Fair.
They're open for indoor seating right now, but they were like, per CDC guidelines on their Facebook page, per CDC guidelines, you just need to wear a mask when you enter the restaurant and to your table. You can take it off when you get to the table. And like all these people are like, you fucking statists. No, I'm not coming until you let me go mask free. I'm like, they just want you to wear the mask for like 60 yards, Deborah. You don't need to like sit and try and eat your chips and salsa through your mask. They're saying, like, if you get up to go to the bathroom, put your mask on. They don't want you walking around breathing your nasty air. And you know, all these people, and I'm sorry, I'm going on this. All the people that are like, you're a fucking idiot and you're stupid and the government owns you. Those are the people that are generally in the highest risk category.
Right?
Like, you're
this
old.
is literally I think one of my favorite outlooks I've seen about this is like, part of me doesn't want people to be stupid and wants people to be smart and like do for the best thing, but like also for science, this is the first time we'll be able to like watch Darwinism play out in real time in like one generation. Because like the dumbest people are and the weakest people are going to just fucking die because they were morons.
Yes, just keep yourself like, don't, or you know what, or don't wear a mask, and that's fine. Don't wear a mask. I'm okay with that too. But don't be mad if somebody else is like, that's part. Like, would you be mad if I was wearing this shirt, like this stupid shirt with the cold shoulders that like, is this in style? I don't know. But are you mad at me for wearing it? I hope not. Like,
yes, I'm furious. It's a terrible shirt.
It's a mom shirt.
I have such high standards in my bright pink fucking dress
I was
shirt.
gonna wear my We the People dress. I have this like shirt, this dress that says We the People, but it's so humid. I was like, I will not be able to get it over my head because I'm so sweaty. So I have to have something with like ventilation.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Luckily, it got cold here today, so my fan has been on all day, and my room has actually been bearable.
I ordered a new window fan for us, and it came and it was broken.
Ooh.
And I was like, thanks 2020. Of course it's broken. Why wouldn't it be?
That just kind of figures, doesn't it?
Came from Costco, so they'll take it right back.
Even if it wasn't broken, and you broke it.
Yeah, I broke it. I returned a bag of oranges there one time, and I didn't have a single orange. I was like, all the oranges were rotten, and I threw them away. And they're like, okay, here's your $5.99 back. I was like, thank you. Nick's like, that's such a Karen thing to do. I was like, I paid for it, and every orange in there was bad.
Oh my God, that is brilliant. Oh
We didn't.
my God.
It's like, it's so bad. But I was so mad because, like, when you got a bunch of kids that eat a shit ton of fruit and you get home and 5 pounds of it is completely rotten. Well, it was like, there was probably 3 or 4 good oranges, but I usually check them pretty good. And I don't know if I had a kid with me or if I was in a hurry, but yeah, they were all bad. I was like, nasty.
Rough.
Give me my money back.
I got introduced to the wonderful world that is Costco from Team Tulsi. They would just buy fucking everything there and then just like return it.
I don't advocate for that, but somebody did tell me, if you buy a mattress from
not the campaign. Let me make this clear. Specific people that were volunteering on the campaign had used that strategy throughout life, and we're also continuing it slightly while on the campaign, like buying sleeping bags that they like used for like a weekend and then return to Costco.
Gross. They have to take it back. They take everything back. Mm-hmm. But I don't think I've ever returned anything that, like, that bag of oranges was like probably a little embarrassing for Nick, but I was like, he wasn't with me. And also he would have been like, yeah, return it. You go. I'll stay here. Right. I'm not coming with you, or I'm not doing it. But I've never returned anything else there. We bought a trash can from there, and the lid broke. And it was like, don't return to the company or return to the store, call the company. And I called the company. I don't remember when we bought it, but I was like, we got it at Costco. And the guy's like, oh, I'll send you a new lid. Those friggin' trash cans, those are the automatic ones. They're like $70. I'm like, that lid alone was probably $30, and they just sent us a brand new one. He's like, you mentioned Costco. They're probably like, we got to keep our contract or whatever.
Wow.
Plus it was like 5 years old. But somebody told me if you return a mattress to Costco, you have 5 years. I'm like, what what trash people are sleeping on a bed for 5 years and then being like, oh, I don't like it.
The Princess and the Pea. Wow.
After 5 years, you're supposed to get a new mattress every like 7 to 8 years anyway, but like 5 years, just donate it.
Right. Some people's
kids, man.
People survive off of that shit, though.
No.
Gotta do what you gotta do. I'm not advocating for it.
I love Costco. I want to be welcome back.
There we go. All right. Well, I want to thank you again for coming on the show. It was a pleasure talking to you.
You too. You can come and visit us. I know you're not there, but up here anymore, but we'll be moving next 2 weeks through. Oh, we'll be moving at the end of July because we have a lot of work to do, but we'll have space if you ever want to come and visit.
Awesome. I will let you know probably when I'm done in Michigan, which will be August, September, I think, somewhere in there.
Yeah. Good luck with that.
Thank you. My parents actually have been talking about taking a trip to New Hampshire, so I was hoping to at least get to go out to dinner with you guys or something like that with my parents.
Yeah.
It'd be kind of fun.
Yeah. We'll have a nanny, so we'll have a babysitter too.
Perfect. All
so
right.
the kids can probably come too. Like I just said, like I spent an hour talking about how kids need to be involved and stuff, and I'm like, oh, let's leave the kids at home and go out to dinner.
All right. Well, thank you again.
Thank you.
Have a great night.
You too. Bye.
All right. Thank you guys so much for watching. And don't forget to tune in next week to Fight for Liberty Live.